I can see you now.
First of all, I'm actually going to start with you, Rose, because from the minute I saw that picture of you on the beach from like the Sundance photo, I was like, okay, this lady's going to go through some things. Uh,
Accurate.
I'm curious for you, though. One of the things that we sort of follow you as you're a mother on the brink and just really going through it, dealing with caretaker fatigue, dealing with an absentee husband, and a hole in your roof. The thing that I was most surprised with is that you have to look crazed. You have to look like somebody that has hit the meth pipe. How do you do that as an actor?
She wishes.
I just hit that pipe, you know what I mean? I mean, that's the way I roll.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
She's
Cody,
method, very method.
Let's just get that out
No,
of
but
that.
how do you get that, like, because I feel that's the hardest thing. The camera's on your face so much, and you just have to look slowly going insane, which I don't know how you emote that as an actress, but you did it incredibly well.
I must say, we worked very closely with the heads of department. We had an incredible hair and makeup team because it's technical at the end of the day. It's tracking it too, because you're out of order and you're figuring it all out. And we had a chart, we had a whole thing of, because she's obviously self-destructing and drinking more and taking more drugs, and it becomes a bit of a technical exercise. And it was actually good to start from the outside in a way, and that was very helpful. It was a very creative process too, figuring out that, because by the end she's quite a zombie, you know, and that was it was fun. It was a fun kind of creative aspect of it, was doing that. Yeah.
And Mary, I mean, obviously Rose is an incredible actress, but her filmography, I don't think I'd seen that, like, you know, meth mom energy, but you obviously did.
I love that. I love that you keep calling her a meth mom. I love it. I love it.
That's what it felt like to me. I was like,
felt like that.
This is a lot. She's not doing that obviously in the movie, but A$AP Rocky being, you know, exactly what he is in this. Figuring out that Conan could be the most disaffected man. How did you go about casting this incredible bit of your own story?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough that I got to cast all of my principals myself. Not everybody gets to do that or is trusted to do that. So I'm very lucky that A24 trusted my instincts and that happened. As far as Rose goes, I mean, she was at the top of my list from the beginning because I needed somebody who understood the humor in this story and where those beats were and how to play them inside her character. So not playing them for jokes, but as behavioral comedy, which you can't teach, you know? And then also somebody who had real dramatic chops, and also somebody who's beloved by the world, by the audience, so that when the audience first sees her face, even if it's subconsciously, they have a kindness towards her. And that allows me to take them into darker places. And that's a very short list of people. Rose was number one for me. And then she can't take a compliment.
I can.
No.
And then
picking it up.
For Conan, I've been a fan of his, you know, since the beginning of his first late night show. Came on
Wait, you're in late night?
Was.
Oh,
you were.
Yeah.
He was.
I was asked to leave.
He was asked to leave by the community, by the late night community.
By America. Yeah. America and
They really
and
seemed
mass.
to like you the other night.
It's the one thing this country can agree on.
I feel like they miscalculated. Sorry, we digress.
We digress. And no, I was 14 when that first show came out, and so this man's, you know, voice has been in my head, you know, for most of my life. And one night I was listening to him on his podcast interviewing David Letterman, and these two men it was a serious part of the conversation. I thought to myself, if Conan O'Brien told me to do something, I would listen. And then I thought, he could be the therapist. But that's too wild of an idea. But it wasn't. I got the script to him, and he read it, and he was scared out of his mind.
Yeah.
And I convinced him to do it. And how good is he?
You already won an award-winning actor already, you and A$AP.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
I heard, Conan, that you said that, and I don't want to give too much away, that you were reading the script, and when it got to the hamster scene, which is you got to pick your side on that scene. Either you were dying laughing or you were shocked. That was when you were like, I'm doing this. So what was that particular moment that made you say, yeah, this is the dramatic project for me?
When I read the script, and this is not something I aspired to do, it's has not been on my bucket list, But this script came to me, and when I read it, I could immediately tell that this was very special. Mary, I've told her this many times, but she's a master of tone. It is a very original story, and she creates this very specific atmosphere, and she's in complete command. And I read it and I thought, this is really special. And I love the script so much, and I admire and love Rose so much that I didn't want anything to damage this project. So the first thing I did was tell Mary, you should go out and get someone else. And I might be the only person in Hollywood who, when presented with an A24 script, says, are you sure you shouldn't find someone else? And I was dogged about that. And then I made you promise that if you weren't happy on set, replace me immediately. I will not be offended. And then once we agreed to those conditions, we worked really hard.
Yeah.
So, because I just wanted to be a good scene partner for Rose. These two women are extraordinary. I have the highest esteem for them, and I just didn't want to get in the way. I know
Get in the way?
Well, you know what I mean. I wanted to support, and I didn't want anyone to look at it and think, oh, this is like a shtick or a gimmick. And I think we achieved that. So
Yeah.
No, you really did. And it was, I mean, I have to ask you, Mary, a little bit about, I want to talk a little bit as much as we can about the hamster, because like I said, I was watching it and I was dying, and you wrote it. And I just feel part of you, like, I just need to know more about this.
It's a fantasy fulfillment of, okay, my daughter talked me into getting a hamster one time. And I hated this guy so much. I hated this guy. His name was Max. And the minute Max came into my life, I hated him, because it was a similar situation in the movie where it was like, can I get a hamster? No. Can I get a hamster? No. Can I get a hamster? No. And then there was a situation where I was like, if you do this thing, you can get a hamster. And the minute I came out of my mouth, I was like, no. Because of course, then she did the thing and we got the hamster. The hamster was completely nocturnal, slept all through the day. And then when my husband and I would sit on the couch to relax and watch TV, the hamster would be like, party time. And the hamster would do, I swear to God, monkey bars across the top of the cage. And as soon as it started doing that, I was like, no, sir. And I took the hamster back to the pet store and I said, I don't care what you do with this guy. I'm leaving it here. You can take the cage. You can take all the accoutrements that he has. And I left, and I was like... So then this was a couple years before I wrote the script. When I wrote the script, I was like, I thought of that moment, and every parent knows that moment when you promise a thing to get out of a situation, and then you're like, why did I do that? Because then you have to live with it. And then I thought, what if it gets run over? What if it gets run over? And, it's either, in the audience, it's either a gasp or a hard laugh. And, what side were you on? I'm curious.
That was a hard laugh.
Good. That's the side. Yes.
This is the feel-bad comedy of the year.
That's the feel-bad comedy of the year. I love that. Let's put that on the poster.
One of the things, too, that I loved about this movie is towards the end of it, and this is why I stand by the drug-addled part, I worry about her as an unreliable narrator, because we really do live in her experience.
Absolutely.
And about halfway through, I'm like, this is not real. Like, first of all, just the doctor, that was such a meta moment. I don't know what y'all were doing. And like,
it was meant to be a meta exercise. Yes.
For you, Rose, how did you do that part of it? The sort of like, because she, again, her being an unreliable narrator, did y'all sort of make it to where obviously this experience is not hers? Or like, how does that sort of like play out? Because I couldn't tell whether she's crazier than the situation or the situation was crazier than her.
Well, it was always so deeply from her perspective. So as the performance, it was just completely committed to her POV. But like the ambiguity that Mary creates is just like this great, to Conan's point, the tone of it is so ambiguous. I'm still learning things about the movie, like still discovering different aspects of it. And now that people are seeing it, it's so curious to hear what people respond to and how people are processing it and asking these questions like, was this real? Was that real? Did this mean this? Did this mean that? I'm like, it's all right. It's all of it is right. It's all a great creative expression.
I think I told Mary that the other night we did a screening in Los Angeles, and we're about to go out on stage and answer questions, and the crowd is applauding, and Rocky leans over to me and starts asking me questions about, now, do you think that your character, really? And I was saying, huh? Well, that's interesting. And we're walking out onto a stage, and he's interpreting, and I'm trying to interpret, and then I thought, oh, wait a minute, I think we're supposed to promote the film. So all of us, as huge fans of your vision, are that's one of the things I think is so special about this film, is that there's so much that you can debate, talk about, and that is the thing I've heard most consistently, is when the film is over, friends of mine that have seen it said, I need to talk about this. Yeah. I need to talk about it. And I did not have that reaction, when I saw, Terminator 9. I didn't need to talk about it.
You do need to talk about this one. You also need to maybe call your mother. There's a lot of that, like, call your mom energy to it, too.
I've said that to a couple of young people that have approached me afterwards and had very intense reactions. And I just say, is your mother still with us? And if they say yes, I say, call your mom. Call your mom.
I was going to say, Rose, for you, though, one of the reasons why I also felt that is you have to do a lot of phone acting. Some sets, it's the person to the side. Some sets, it isn't. But you've got to give that desperate sort of moment. And you're just like holding the phone in the car, which I think is even harder. And the camera's staring at you. So how did you sort of stay locked in? Was it Mary off to the side?
No, Christian, no.
Oh, it was Christian. Oh, wow, that's awesome.
He was calling in from Germany and Miami and I don't know, wherever he was.
I have a thing where I'll never let an actor act against an empty chair. You just can't do it. And the viewer can smell it, So the daughter, even though we don't see her for almost the entirety of the movie, whenever Rose has a scene with her, she's there. She's physically there. So they're acting together. And then whenever she's on the phone with somebody, the person is on the phone. And if the person couldn't be on the phone, which I think was only like one instance maybe, somebody else is on the phone. Yeah. So that it's never pretending. It's acting and reacting, not pretending.
Conan, I wanted to ask you sort of like a last question because, again, I don't know where you pulled this man out of because he's the most unfeeling therapist in the history of therapy, in my opinion. I think other people would disagree, but I was I can't be with this man right now. Was there an inspiration for it? He seems so different from you. Was there anybody that you sort of like pulled to like find him?
Well, I come from people, and I want to be very specific about this. I come from a lot of Irish people who, lovely people, excellent people, but we can be very uncomfortable around emotion. We can be very uncomfortable around any kind of neediness. And I think I had that in me, and I thought, I know these people, I've encountered these people. And what's interesting is the way I saw this guy is that when the higher Rose goes in her need for my help or for anyone's help, the more I actually start to shut down because I have very strict ideas. I like everything in a certain kind of box. And so I just kept thinking about that. And it was difficult because it's the exact opposite of my instinct. I would be a terrible therapist because everything in me would be saying, if it was me, I'd be saying, Rose, you need to get some sleep. I'm going to book you a hotel room. I'm going to get sitters for your daughter. I'm going to make sure that you get, I'll book you a massage. I would do all the things that cross the line.
You'd be disbarred immediately.
I would be disbarred immediately. Yes. I'd say, you're having trouble getting wine? I'm sending a crate of wine to your room. Also, here's some good pharmaceuticals I think you should try. Here's a whole bottle. I would be terrible. And so it was almost that George Costanza and Seinfeld thing where I thought, do the opposite of what I would do. And that seems to annoy and really bother everybody, which I think is the idea.